Hello everybody, my name is Alex and I'm going to be talking about email. So a lot of you are probably asking yourself, why email, right? So there are a couple of reasons. First of all, it's that everybody has it, right? It's really old, like email predates the internet, right? So it's really rare if somebody doesn't have it. And you can ask for it really easy. Like almost all of the websites have like a subscription or an email field. If you subscribe to something, you got the email. So it's pretty easy to use it to expand your network, right? And market yourself or your company. So those are the reasons that today we're talking about email and email design. Before we continue, we need to know that there's three types of email. Marketing emails. The user or the viewer has to opt in and be able to opt out. You cannot send this randomly because you're in violation. You cannot do that. So these type of emails provide content or information about your product or your company. Okay? So the other type of email is notification emails. So you can get these from Twitter or from Facebook. The key here is that they're triggered by an event. Your birthday, a new follower, a new like, okay? And there's the transaction emails. So these emails, when you send these emails, you expect an action from your viewer. So it's either to confirm a subscription or to validate an email. So the user doesn't have to opt in on these because you need them to complete an action to actually use your product. So these are the three types of email, and mainly the things we're going to see today here are used, most of them on marketing and transactional emails. Notification emails, they tend to be really short, so they don't tend to have a lot of design on them, okay? So I'm going to be touching, giving an overview of different parts of design that have to do with emails and how you can use them to better your email newsletters or templates, okay? So the first one is content. When you start your process, you probably get like a huge blob of text from your marketing or copywriter, right? So you need to read and go through these content because if you have a lot of a different focus on the same text, it's gonna get messed up. So your job as a designer is to read through this content and decide if you wanna break it down into a series of emails, or if you wanna break the same email in different cards. So a good example would be Envision. You can see in that example that they have different cards talking about different topics, but all the cards have the same level of importance. You don't feel the need of reading one specific before the other, okay? So you're breaking down the content, but you're not establishing a hierarchy, okay? Everything has the same importance. Oh, and if you have a lot of content, it's really good if you link out. So you can have two types of readers. You can have the person that likes to read it all, word by word, but you're probably gonna end up with a user that actually skims email. So you have the skimmers and scanners. So this is people that go through your email really fast and look for keywords. So your job is to present to them as easy as possible what they're looking for. So you can see in that email that they have really huge titles. So it's easy for the users to know what they want to read and what not, okay? So you can cover both of these types of users or readers by linking out. You provide the set amount of information needed, and if they want to read more, they can go to your website, and you're doing like covering two things. You're marketing your website and then providing that information to them. The second thing is identity. So the common way to do this is to put your logo on top of your email, okay? You can put it to the side, on the center, or the right side, doesn't matter. But like a trend today is to put it on the top. And maybe a question would be like, why not put it somewhere else? And that reason is because the first thing you want them to see is your brand, to know from where that email is coming from. And a good example of this is this email right here because they put that logo really big on the top, but they also tell you on the first thing you read that the email is from True Citrus. So you see it in the logo and in the text. So yeah, we really, really want to be specific. It has to be obvious from where the email is coming. Okay? Colors. Okay. So when you use colors, you want to translate that experience you're doing, that you're presenting on your website, to the email. Because you don't want to feel that, you don't want to make them feel that they're in another place. You want to present that same experience, right? So when you do choose colors that represent your brand. Colors that you use on your logo, or a style guide. Not everybody has a style guide. If you don't, it's really useful to create one. And two good examples of this, you probably have heard of Litmus. They're really good with emails, have a lot of blog posts. You can read their blog posts. But the thing, they're particular because they have a lot of colors on their brand, right? So all their emails use a lot of colors, and it's not conflicting. It has an harmony to it, right? And same with Fitbit. It has different shades, I think, of blue, but it's still harmonious, right? It's not conflicting, neither to your eyes or to the content. Okay? Images. So due to limitations when coding an email, images become a huge asset when creating an email. But important when you choose your images, they have to give value to your content and go accordingly with your content. So if you're talking about riding a bike, don't choose an image with a dude riding a sports car because it doesn't make sense, okay? If you have a lot of images in your website, maybe you're, like for example, About Me or Instagram, they use a lot of images on their websites. So you can use those in your emails. That will be great because you're, again, transferring that same experience from your website to your email, okay? Your job as a designer is to have those images on point. Sizing must be on point because if you provide low resolution images or images with bad sizing, when you put them on the email, they're gonna look bad, and you don't want that, right? I'm gonna get into crazy hacks later, but just with code, that thing that the text is on top of the image and you have a square that goes through the blank space and the image, that's not possible just with code. So how they do this is that as a designer, I create the whole thing. So the black box, the square, the bordered box, and the top image in my Illustrator or Sketch, and then I crop it through the half, okay? So when the coder gets these two images, it puts one on the top and one on the bottom. So it looks like it's this crazy hack of code, but it's just an image, okay? Layout, most important thing. So when you're designing, it's important that you design the width of the email to be 600 pixels or less. And this, you may think this is crazy at first. I thought it was crazy. But when you're dealing with a lot of clients or emails or browsers, it's really difficult to make it responsive or to make it look on make it look great on every client or browser. It's good to have 600 pixels, okay? Due to you have 600 pixels, having more than 3 columns, it's asking too much. It's gonna be all cluttered, right? So 3 columns or less, you're good. And it's good to handle that in terms of responsiveness. Don't be scared of making room. White space is encouraged. It helps you divide content. You can see in this example that just with white space, they created sections. It's not confusing to what goes with what, just using white space. You can use borders or, I don't know, the rule of your choice, but white space looks great. And establish a flow. When you look at this email, it's obvious that you go to the center and go zigzag a little, right? And then go into the center again. that flow is good because it's not hard to understand, okay? Fonts. There are not a lot of restrictions when you use fonts. Just keep it legible. If you have a long text body, like content, use 14 pixels. If you have short text, then 60 pixels are okay. Don't use more than 2 fonts. This is like a general rule. You can, but the user may think that there's some kind of hierarchy established due to the fonts where there's not. Okay, so 2 fonts or less, it's good. I found that 1 font is okay. Serif for sophistication and sans for the casual experience. Again, in this email, 1 font, 16 pixels, white space, everything is clear. Just read the title and that call to action is right there waiting for you to click it, okay? Simple as it gets. Call to actions. Okay, so when you're sending a transactional email, you want the user to do something, right? So that main thing, that thing that you want the user to do has to be your main call to action. So it's important that you establish a hierarchy because let's say if I had a lot of links in my email and I choose to use the same blue button on all of them, then the user will know what to click. So you can use images as links, you can use buttons as links, and you can use links, like a tag, as a link. But know that you have to establish a hierarchy because the user needs to know from the first minute he looks at the email what to do, okay? And don't be afraid to repeat. In this case, this email repeats the same call to action. If you had different call to actions, don't use the same thing for different things because it's confusing, okay? If you have same call to action repeated, okay, but don't mix it. You don't want to confuse your user, okay? Limitations, we don't use divs. I mean, we can use divs, but we're still experimenting with that and creating new things. And the reason we use tables is because they're really old and everyone interprets them the same. So they have limitations. There comes the images, and that's the reason they're your best friend. Okay? Another reason really important is why design is really important is because there are laws that you have to follow, and developers don't know about this. So it's our job to know about this, okay? So I'm not gonna read through them, but basically what they're saying is that you can't create confusion. You cannot sell something to confuse the user, okay? So everything that you're putting out there needs to be exactly that. You need to put your address, your physical address, because the user needs to know where you're at. If you don't want it to be out there, you don't want people to go to your office and actually knock on your door, just put it on the footer, small, not really small, and maybe a little gray or really light gray, okay? But you have to meet with all of these. If not, you're gonna have a penalty of $60,000, okay? Here are some resources. Coolers, I use it for colors, MailChimp design guide, really good emails for inspiration, Shutterstock for emails, and myself in the Slack channel. So that's it. Any questions?